My name's Brandon Barker, and I'm 18, and I'm from New York. But I'm taking a break from the big city to be in the University of Massachusetts Amherst right now for the next 4 years to pursue a Bachelor of Fine Arts in dance in all the categories of ballet, jazz, contemporary, and a whole lot more. So when I was a freshman in high school, I experienced lindy hop for the first time, and I found it so amazing. It was this dance where I could ask people to dance, and I could create a family just through socializing people and dancing with them, and like emotion was shown as you were dancing, which is something you can do in stuff like ballet modern, but it's a little hard. And I could just experiment without having any failure in dance. There's a very obvious way to kind of fail in modern and ballet and do right or wrong, but there's none of that in lindy hop, which I really loved. So I started taking classes and going to social dances every week. And I went to the bigger expanse of social events that would take place on long weekends, Thursday to Sunday. And I learned from going to these events outside of New York that were bigger scaled and had international people that my role as a lindy hopper was really important. I was not only one of very few young people to be doing it, but one of very few African Americans to be doing the dance. So I instantly qualified for being a Frankie Manning Foundation ambassador. So this was created after the impactful leader of Lindy Hop, whose name was Frankie Manning, of course, had passed away, and he never got to see his dream of young people and black people doing Lindy Hop when the revival period of Lindy Hop happened. So, because I had those two qualities of just being young and African American, I qualified for this. And so I kept in mind that I had a very specific and important role to play in the Lindy Hop world. So I started with my teacher doing different performances in schools or in different events, such as one called Summer Stage. It happens every summer in either the Bronx or Manhattan or whichever borough. And the groups that me and my teacher would perform for would either have mostly kids or mostly an African American population. So we would perform for these groups, and he would make sure that whichever group we were performing for, whether if it was an African American group, we'd have mostly black performers, so then the crowd would be able to see us and identify with us and sort of feel like, oh, look, if they can do it, maybe I can do it, and sort of feel inspired by seeing themselves on stage. Same with young people. My teacher would get a lot of young people to work with me for performances for just a general mass group of young people, whether young as in like elementary school or young as in young college students, so they would be able to see us and go, oh, look, someone our age doing it. Um, so from here, I went through all 4 years of my high school experience, basically promoting myself in different performances as a young black person doing lindy hop and showing other young or black people that it is possible to be that. Um, so basically, now that I'm at a big university with a lot of people and I can make a real impact, I want to make sure I fulfill Frankie Manning's dreams. So if I get the Shofur scholarship, I feel like it'll be very possible to fulfill this dream of Frankie Manning's and also take financial burden off of myself and my parents, of course. One way it'll help is that I will be able to go back out to different social dance or competition or workshop events related to Lindy Hop. That's all how I bring back my knowledge to college to be able to spread it to all the young people here. And since I'm now in the college atmosphere and the finances have started for my parents, they have to prioritize and say college or swing dance events. And so they, of course, always put college over the swing dance events. And so I'll be able to go to more events that are related to swing without them sort of freaking out about finances. Another thing is I'll be able to play a big role in the budgeting for the swing dance club here that I'm going to start at UMass. It works where you get to sort of request a level of finances for each thing that you do. So if I wanted to bring some really good teachers down for the weekend or host a social dance event, I'd have to say, okay, I think I'll need this much money to accommodate things in this way. And since I'm the only one, pretty much the only one who knows a lot about Lindy Hop extensively and has done it for 5 years, everyone else, such as the vice president, secretary, treasurer, they're latching on out of their passion, but they don't really know about it like me. I'm kind of worried if I have to hand over that job to maybe the treasurer or the vice president, because they don't know how to sort of balance finances in terms of how Lindy Hop and swing dancing works the way I do. Now, in terms of my parents, they have a big role to play in all this. So my mom is doing a Kaplan program where she brings in students to our house and they get to stay in America from different continents and learn English. So at first it was just a small money builder where we would have maybe a student for a long period of time, then we take a break from having students and just have the house to ourselves. Now she's doing it just very, very committed, and at this point the house is never empty. So I want to take some pressure off of her feeling like she needs to always be looking for students so that there's always money flowing to the house. And for my dad, he's looking for a new job, and I know for a fact, we've talked about this, that he's worried about the period of time where he quits this job that he's at and is looking for a job. He's afraid that he won't be able to fill in my school finances as that big chunk of time is open. I also have a lot of family pitching in, my grandfather, my grandmother, my uncle, or uncles, I should say, a lot of them. So I want to take the burden off of them, sort of let them breathe a little bit. And so another thing is just looking into the future here. I am already taking grants and loans, and when I graduate and start a professional swing business, which I plan to do, I want to be able to fully commit all of my finances to whatever swing group I have, which can happen if I am worrying about, okay, this month I'll pay this much off for this loan, and this month I'll pay this much off to the school or to the bank that I borrowed money from. It's going to be hard to fully commit my finances to whatever swing group I decide to create if my finances are always being dragged towards these loans, grants, or money that I've borrowed from someone from college. So that's going to be a little tough. But with the Shofur Scholarship, it should take off the burden of a lot of those things. So yeah, speaking of Lindy Hop, I want to show you a little bit of a taste of Lindy Hop. It is something that can be done with solo jazz movement, which I'm going to do since I don't have a partner. And the song I'm going to do it to is called Shorty George by Count Basie. All right.